Welcome to our board meeting. Could we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Megan, will you call the roll?
Yes. Trustee Lautner?
Here.
Trustee Zora is absent. Trustee Council?
Here.
Trustee Sheehan?
Here.
Trustee Caputo?
Here.
Trustee Diaferio?
Here.
President DeCipio?
Here.
A quorum is present, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. First up on our agenda is the recognition of outgoing trustee Jermaine Stewart. What a pleasure it is to be here tonight. Tonight is really a bittersweet night because we lose a true friend to all of us as a seat on the board tonight, but Jermaine Stewart is always going to be a member of this board and a member of our community, and we look forward to his future involvement down the road. I first met Jermaine many years ago, as I mentioned earlier, at St. Louis' summer event. I went up to him, introduced myself, and he was gracious enough to introduce himself, his family. He had his two children who were smaller at the time. Asked him if he'd like to get involved in the community, and he said he'd love to. The timing wasn't right yet, but knowing Jermaine, years later, he came up to me and said, I'm ready. I'd like to partake in what's going on in this great community. He's a finance professional working in Chicago. He brings that same precision and care to our village. He's a proud dad of Nathan and Alexa, and despite a busy schedule for family and work, he always found time for our community. As part of our efforts with the Central Area Storm Sewer Separation Project, Jermaine worked with the village board and trustees working with the legislators here and in Springfield to help secure crucial dollars to move this multi-million-dollar initiative forward. As chair of the CRC, under his leadership, the Community Revitalization Commission delivered a planned streetscape enhancements, shaped our new branding and identity, and launched the Property Improvement Program. With regard to the Commercial Revitalization Plan, alongside Jamie and Joe Caputo, Trustee Caputo and Trustee Zora, he steered the update to our downtown business plan, ensuring local merchants have the tools they needed to thrive. Some of his personal qualities that I did not generate, but Julie and the staff did, and these are things that everybody sees in this individual. He truly leads with a people-first mindset, whether he's checking in on a neighbor, brainstorming with a business owner, or championing our shared projects. He brings a warm heart, collaborative spirit, and genuine public belief that service is about lifting up everyone in the community. Again, Jermaine, we're going to miss your leadership, your laughter, and the caring discussions and conversations we've had, whether it's related to youth, students, neighbors, businesses, or families. I can't thank you enough, as the board so graciously said, for everything you've done for our village. We wish you and the family the best as you move on to this next chapter. I've thought about things that I could say to Jermaine, and I think I've already said them, and I can't say any more than what has already been said because it would be redundant. One word I do have for Jermaine, though, when I first met him and I got to know him over the years, was gentleman. Jermaine is a true gentleman. He's respectful, he has integrity, family first, village, community oriented, but there's very few people you meet throughout your career that you can say that to, Jermaine, and I say that to you because it comes from my heart that you are a true gentleman, and sometimes I wish I could be like you, but thank you for all that you brought to our community, to the board, to every individual up there. You've touched all of our hearts. So with that, would you please come up? So the Village of Grange Park, with deepest gratitude and respect, Jermaine Stewart, Village Trustee, 2021 to 2025. Your impact is seen and felt in every corner of our village. Thank you for leading with heart, vision, and dedication, and for your consideration you brought throughout. Jermaine, this is presented to you from the village and the board and the staff and everyone involved. Hold this dear to your heart because everything that says on here, we truly believe in you. So come on up, I'd like you to say a few words. Come here, buddy. Go ahead. It's all yours.
All right, where's the door? I don't really like the personal recognition that much. I really don't look for that when I do things. I want to congratulate the winners of the election, Trustee Diaferio, Trustee Council, and Trustee Zara. You know, I was a fish out of water when I first started, and Julia and James, Jim, they took me under their wing, and I learned so much from them, and they're just amazing people. And then Maggie came in, and like it's just hard for me to even speak on you three because just with the late night calls or if I had any questions or anything, you guys have always been incredibly supportive. So I appreciate you guys, and I love you guys. Department heads, I feel like you guys are just incredible, man. Like just the level of you know, professionalism and humility that you guys bring. It's just, it's inspiring. So I really love you guys and appreciate you guys as well. Board members, you know, I feel like we've been through the trenches. You know, we agreed on so much. We disagreed on a lot too. But we just were, you know, trying to do what's best for the community. And we all have a really big heart for Grange Park. Myself, you know, I never really felt like I had a lot of the answers, but, you know, I just tried to have a level of curiosity and empathy in any situation that I was in. So, but yeah, but I appreciate everybody here, and I can't thank you all enough. And you'll still be seeing me around, just at I guess at a different capacity. I still want to ride on your snowmobile or whatever. Yeah. So, but thanks again, everybody. I'm gonna miss it here, but you know, I know it's in good hands with Nick. He's a great person. We've had a lot of conversations, and it took me maybe the third year to get used to things. I'm gonna be honest, like it just really, you know, it just really kind of goes fast, and you just feel overwhelmed. So I know you got it covered, and I know the village is in good hands with you coming on board. So appreciate it. Thank you all.
Hey, Jermaine, the fire department's hired in October if you.
Okay, next up, we have employee recognition ceremony. Julia?
Thank you, Mr. President. We had a little bit of a celebration before the board meeting started this evening. Each year, the village takes an opportunity to recognize and thank employees that have hit a milestone anniversary. This is the way that the village can thank employees for the work that they do each and every day. It's not about how much work do you do in the last 5 years. It's about saying thanks for the work that you do day in and day out. So much of what they do, we don't see every day. But the work that they do is critical for customer service, for keeping the community safe, and for keeping the lights on, the bills paid, and the utilities running. and we are so grateful and inspired by the work that our employees do. So at this time, I'm going to recognize the employees who have reached a milestone anniversary for this year. I'll name their name, their department, and the years of service that they completed. If they are here, please come up and accept your award. And we thank you so much for your service. We really appreciate what you do, and we'll have a nice round of applause at the end. And thank you so much for coming this evening to recognize each other, for your family members, and thank you, board, for all of your support of the work that our employees do. So let's get started on this recognition. I'm going to start off by recognizing Antonio Garcia, who's a patrol officer in the police department, celebrating 5 years of service. We then move on to Ken Marciniak in the fire department, 5 years of service. Thank you. We have Chris Moravic in the police department. Chris, 5 years of service. Thank you so much for the work that you do for our community. Also 5 years of service, Bronte Schomer in the police department. We have Matt Smith, who's a maintenance worker in the Public Works Department, also celebrating 5 years. This is just going to keep getting more fun with each name called. Next on our list is Madeline Ulrich in the fire department. Madeline. Five years for Madeline. Maddie. Next on our list is David Escamilla in the police department, celebrating 10 years of service. Wow. Goes by so fast. And joining David is Lupe Gonzalez in the police department, also a patrol officer, celebrating 10 years of service. Thanks, Lupe. Also celebrating 10 years is Mike Hughes in the fire department, now in fire prevention. Mike. Thank you so much, Mike. Also in the fire department, we celebrate Josh Johnson, celebrating 10 years of service. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Moving on to the next tier, we have those employees celebrating 20 years of service, celebrating Chris Bodler in the fire department as captain. Chris. Next on our list is Gary Moore, accompanied by his son Charlie. Gary Moore is our water operator in our Public Works Department, celebrating 20 years. Thank you, Gary. Next on our list, Ronald Podlasek. He's a crossing guard in our police department, celebrating 20 years. Next on our list, Anna Slesa in the Finance and Admin Department, celebrating 20 years. Where does the time go, Anna? Next on our list is John Strezzo, our Deputy Police Chief, celebrating 25 years of service in our police department. And we're going to round it out with the Public Works Department, celebrating Charlie Schooneman's 45 years of service with the village. Charlie is our mechanic in our Public Works Department. Congratulations, and thank you, Charlie, and everybody else. And that concludes the ceremony. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Julia. On behalf of the village board, I want to thank each and every one. We want to thank each and every one of you for your service to our community and all that you bring us, and we're so grateful to have you. So thank you for all that you do. He's trying to give it away.
Way to sell it, Sam.
Okay, next up we have public participation. Would anyone care to address the board? Dr. Cordy?
I'll keep it short. I know you guys have a long meeting. First off, Jessica wanted to apologize for two things, that she couldn't be here and that she sent me in her place. So just to let you guys know. We just wanted to thank the village in advance for considering the water reduction rate for the splash pad. It's a great benefit for, you know, our residents. And the second thing we wanted to just put on record was that the Park District was happy to provide a letter of support for the grant for the paint and post project. We continue to support this project and hope it will improve pedestrian safety near Memorial Park and the Village Market. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Dr. Cordy, thank you for coming tonight. And on behalf of the board again, I want to thank you for working with the village board as the Community Park District president. We look forward to our interactions together, and that camaraderie and that union to work together is what makes this community so great. So thank you for all that you do, President Cordy. Okay, anyone else care to address the board? Okay, moving on, we have consent agenda. Megan?
The items on this evening's consent agenda are as follows. A, approval of minutes. 1, Village Board meeting, April 22nd, 2025. 2, Village Board work session meeting, May 13th, 2025. 3, Village Board closed session meeting, May 13th, 2025. B, action special water rate. Motion 1, to approve an ordinance amending section 51.43 rates established of chapter 51 water of Title V, Public Works, of the Municipal Code of Grange Park to implement a water rate adjustment for the operation of outdoor seasonal recreational amenities by units of the local government, ordinance number 1257. Motion 2, to approve a resolution approving a special water rate for the Community Park District splash pad at Memorial Park in accordance with section 51.43 rates established of the Grange Park Municipal Code. C, action. Accounts payable and payroll summary. Motion 1, to authorize the president and chairperson of the Finance Committee to sign the register for bills and authorize the treasurer and village clerk to sign checks in payment of operating bills and salaries as itemized in the check registers. And motion 2, to authorize the village treasurer and village clerk to sign checks in the payment of payroll and other bills that become due between this date and the next village board meeting with subsequent approval of the payroll register and voucher register by the Board of Trustees at its next meeting.
Motion to approve consent agenda is presented.
So moved.
Second.
Megan, call the roll.
Yes.
Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
Trustee Diaferio?
Yes.
President DeCipio?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. Next on the agenda is village manager's report. Julia?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have just one item this evening, and it really is a wrap-up report regarding the State of the Village. The State of the Village was held last Thursday at Plymouth Place. Thank you all for who attended this event. We had over 80 RSVPs, and we received very positive feedback from those who were in attendance over at Plymouth Place. This year we presented the State of the Village in a live Q&A format with our department heads providing key updates and President DeCipio offering additional context. Our Deputy Village Manager, Maggie Jarb, expertly coordinated this event, which also included a video production of our branding and identity, highlighting that part of the work that we are working on, which was mentioned earlier as it relates to the Commercial Revitalization Committee.
altogether, it was a great event. Maggie moderated the Q&A, and it ensured that we had a very seamless and engaging session. I just wanted to say thank you to each of the department heads for your insights and the feedback that you provided at that event. Thank you to Mr. President, to President DeCipio for his collaborative support. He was also very engaged in providing additional information. And thanks to Maggie for making everything run smoothly. And also thanks to Derek, Madeline, and Sandy for their assistance with this event. And with that, Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Julia. Okay, next Administration Committee, Trustee Council.
Thank you, President DeCipio. My report is as follows. Seasonal watering reminder. As the weather heats up, the village would like to remind residents of seasonal watering regulations that are in effect from May 15 to September 15. Odd street addresses can water lawns on odd numbered days on the calendar, and even street addresses can water on even numbered calendar days. Thank you for your cooperation. The Community Volunteer Day was recently held on Saturday, May 10. We'd like to say thank you to all of the participants in the annual Community Volunteer Day. Volunteers assisted older adults in the community with gardening and other outdoor spring cleaning, and they also worked on beautifying a number of spaces around the Village Hall complex. Thank you, volunteers, for your amazing generosity and teamwork. State of the Village. The Village hosted this annual State of the Village reception on May 22nd at Plymouth Place. Thank you to the many community members who joined the village officials and staff to reflect on our progress, celebrate our community, and look ahead at what's next. The village also debuted a short video that highlights the village's new logo and 6 core brand principles that capture the spirit of the village. Check out the video on the village's website or YouTube channel, and stay tuned as the village continues to roll out the new brand across Grange Park this summer. Youth Commission vacancies. This year, the village will be seeking new members to serve on the Youth Commission during the next school year. This is the great opportunity for students in grades 7 through 12 to engage with their peers on community issues. Meetings are held once a month on Monday evenings from September through June. Visit the village's website to learn more and apply by June 13. 88 Transition Plan Survey closing soon. The Village of Grange Park is developing an 88 transition plan to improve sidewalk accessibility. Your input is very important. Please complete the short public survey online or in person at Village Hall. The survey closes on June 15, so don't miss your chance to provide feedback and help make the LaGrange Park more accessible for all. Visit the village's website for details. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Council. Moving on to Building and Zoning Committee, in lieu of Trustee Zara be absent, Trustee Lautner.
Thank you, Mr. President. From the Building Department activities through April 2025, there were 90 building permits issued in April 2025, and that's compared to 80 issued in April 2024. As of April, the pace of permits submittals year-to-date is consistent with the number of submittals at this time last year. Estimated construction costs for the last month was just over $1.7 million, which is more than $1.686 million that was realized in April of 2024. Permit fees collected last month equaled $36,231, which is more than the $31,926 of permit fees collected in April of 2024. There were 159 building inspections conducted this past month, and that was compared to 165 in April of 2024. Only 2 inspections failed this month, while the remaining were approved, and there were a total of 8 new code enforcement cases recorded last month. 5 of those projects were closed out, and the remaining 3 cases required further code enforcement action. And that concludes the report from the Building Department this month.
Thank you, Trustee Lautner. Next, Engineering Capital Projects Committee, Trustee DiFario.
Thank you, Mr. President. Here is my Engineering and Capital Projects report for April 2025. National Power Rodding, Inc. completed work on the 2024-2025 sewer lining program, which concentrated on addressing Stonegate and Scottdale storm sewers. Visu Sewer of Illinois LLC completed work on 2024-2025 sewer cleaning and televising contract. The cleaning restored the conveyance capacity of the pipes, and the videos provided will allow the village to plan sewer repair and sewer lining programs for the sewer based on the observed condition. Work continues on the plans and specifications for the village's 2025 water main improvement project, which will focus on the design of water main replacement on Kings Court and Castle Circle. Work began on the design of the 2025 Park Road Improvements Project, which includes work on the 300 and 400 blocks of Park Road. Is nearing completion and being readied for submittal to IDOT for review. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee DeFerrio. Public Safety Committee, Trustee Caputo.
Yes, thanks, President DeCipio. First on my agenda is the Police Department summary of activities for April of 2025. The total number of crimes reported for the first 4 months of 2025 are slightly lower than last year, with 71 incidents reported this year compared to 78 in 2024. Traffic enforcement is at 1,597 total tickets issued through April 2025. This includes adjudication and state-issued citations. Overall police activity is almost identical to last year, with 1,046 total incidents reported in the month of April 2025 compared to 1,082 total incidents in the month of April 2024. Of those 1,046 total incidents, 36 were assists to the fire department, 206 were self-initiated building or park checks, 210 were traffic stops, and 158 were closed home checks. Department members attended 241 and a half hours of training, along with completion of required monthly online training and lexical daily training bulletins. The police department welcomed probationary police officers Mackenzie Koza and Cesar Pinto to the department. They started the 16-week police academy on May 5th. The police department staff, in conjunction with the DEA, participated in the annual drug takedown day on April 26th. We collected over 70 pounds of expired or unused pharmaceutical drugs, thanks to everyone who dropped off items for proper disposal. As a reminder, the police department has a drop-off box in the lobby available for residents during normal business hours. Detective Sergeant Rentz attended a 40-hour lead homicide investigation training, and Officer Wilk and Officer Hott attended a 2-day Women in Law Enforcement Conference in Peoria. Administrative Assistant Baum attended the two-day Illinois Police Accreditation Coalition Conference in St. Charles. Deputy Chief Strezzo, Commander Morocco, and Chief Contois attended the ILEAS conference in Springfield. All sworn-in patrol members of the department received training on the new Taser 10s from our in-house instructors. Please follow the police department on our Facebook page at LaGrange Park Police Department, our Twitter account at LaGrange Park PD, and Instagram at LaGrange PD. A friendly reminder about securing one's personal property at all times. Please lock your vehicles and residence, especially during overnight hours. If you're going on vacation, please utilize the online vacation watch portal frontlinepss.com/LaGrange Park, or log onto the village website and access the portal under the police department page. If you do not have internet access, feel free to fill out our vacation watch card at the police department between the hours of 9 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. That includes the police report. I'm going to move on to the fire department report for April 2025. EMS incidents this month equaled 164. There have been 723 year-to-date compared to 615 year-to-date in 2024. Fire rescue incidents this month, 49. There have been 215 year-to-date compared to 187 year-to-date in 2024. Hazmat personnel attended monthly team training held at Argonne. After a slight delay, a $59,457.17 payment was approved by FEMA for the Assistance to Firefighters grant that we had previously obtained for new mobile radios. Both fire stations were lit up red as part of the Light the Night for Fallen Firefighters program, and minor body work was completed on ambulance 1214 from a previous crash where a driver drove into the ambulance on 31st Street Various repairs were also made to Squad 1226 during the month. Chief 1201 attended portions of the Fire Department Instructors Conference in Indianapolis. The overall event was attended by over 37,000 people from 50 countries. Training staff began assessing the home of 1024 Newberry for potential use for live fire training, and EMS personnel continue to respond to a substantial number of lift assist. Staff has been further discussing appropriate response procedures and potential cost recovery for high frequency use. Our IT rack at Fire Station 2 was relocated to a more secure area and to one less prone to accidental damage. We were able to do a portion of the work in-house as one of our firefighters, who also is an electrician, assisted with installing the necessary power. And the Foreign Fire Insurance Board held a meeting during the month to hold elections. We have one incident of interest to note. On Monday, April 14th at 3:07 p.m., Engine 1221 and Chief 1201 responded to assist Brookfield with a house fire in the 3500 block of Madison. 1201 was assigned the interior. 1221 crew assisted with overhaul in utility control. Also, Captain Fagan assisted with the fire investigation. I have one other item on my agenda, and that is to discuss the amendment of Municipal Code 92.034 and 92.036. The purpose is to seek board approval amending Title IX General Regulations, Chapter 92, which is Animals of the Grange Park Municipal Code. The proposed amendments strengthen regulations on excessive and continuous animal noise and enhance impoundment procedures to improve enforcement consistency and protect community welfare. The general background is the village has identified gaps in existing provisions regarding animal noise, disturbances, and impoundment procedures. Residents and enforcement personnel have noted challenges in addressing excessive barking and other sustained noise disturbances. Additionally, the redemption process for impounded animals lacks certain provisions to ensure timely resolution and cost recovery. The ordinance amendments will help improve regulatory clarity and enforcement efficiency while balancing responsible pet ownership with neighborhood tranquility. A couple key amendments. Number one, animal noise regulations. Defines excessive animal noise to include repeated and disruptive vocalizations such as barking or crowing. Establishes enforcement criteria considering time, duration, and impact on surrounding residents, and outlines procedures for reporting, investigation, and resolution of noise disturbances. Number two, impoundment procedures. Updates redemption provisions to require payment of impoundment fees that the village incurs, as well as any charges issued by the impoundment facility, such as kennel costs and medication before an animal is released. It clarifies that the impoundment fees are separate and apart from any fine or penalty imposed for the underlying violation, and it provides for the collection of fines and fees by the village, even if the owner does not redeem their animal. The recommendation is for the staff to recommend that the village board adopt the ordinance amendments to improve the village's ability to regulate excessive animal noise and refine impoundment procedures. Implementation of these changes will promote a balanced approach to pet ownership while maintaining community quality of life. If approved, the village staff will develop public awareness initiatives to inform residents of the revised regulations and ensure clear enforcement procedures. Additionally, administrative procedures will be refined to support smooth implementation. The motion or action requested is, this item is up for discussion and action, and the motion is to approve an ordinance amending Title IX General Regulations, Chapter 92, Animals of the Grange Park Municipal Code to update provisions regarding animal noise and impoundment of animals.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion. Trustee Caputo.
Yes, thanks, President DeCipio. I think this is a fair proposal. Most of us, either have animals or know friends, neighbors, and so forth that have animals, and like anything, we want to make sure that these animals, go out and do their exercise and whatever they have to, but, we don't want them to be a nuisance to other neighbors or people around or anything, or keep them outdoors for an excessive period of time. So I think this works, as well as the impoundment, which we discussed in one of our other meetings, is a much needed thing for people to take consequences based on their animal if they're out of line. So I think this is, I'm in favor of this act.
Thank you, Trustee Caputo. Any other comments from the board? Trustee Sheehan?
Thank you, Mr. President. Maybe just a question for Chief. Do we get many calls like this?
We maybe get a handful a year,
Are they all founded, or any of them neighbor against neighbor?
generally neighbor against neighbor.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Trustee Sheehan. Trustee Laudner?
That was exactly my question. If it's been a big problem, we're just trying to be proactive and get in front of it.
Proactive, sir.
Yeah, sounds good. Interesting, talking about crowing specifically, considering we don't allow chickens in the village. Hopefully there's not too many complaints regarding that. Enough said.
Any other comments from the board? Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Council?
No.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
Trustee Diaferio?
Yes.
And President DeCipio?
Yes.
So the motion passes by a vote of 5-1.
Thank you, Trustee Caputo.
Thank you. That concludes my agenda.
Okay, moving on, Public Works Committee, Trustee Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a point of question too on the last vote. That is going to be a work in progress, continuing moving forward, right? Nothing as of tonight is set in stone. Correct?
That's an ordinance. Yeah, that's amending your code, so
But-
that,
Okay. But additionally, with the administrative process, okay, I got you.
yeah, it'll be effective going forward, and the administration will implement it,
Thank you, Judge.
Yep.
All right, April 2025, Public Works replaced one lead service line due to a detected leak. 4 hydrant modification kits were completed, along with the installation of 1 new fire hydrant. Hydrant flushing also began and will continue through the month. Next month, concrete blocks were ordered and delivered from Ozinga to organize the village dump site. Spring tree planting was completed with the planting of 39 trees to the parkway. DPW hosted a solid training seminar about asset management. 2 employees attended WaterCon, the State Water Distribution Conference in Peoria. The Forest Preserve path at the dead end of Forest Road has new stone added, and resurfaced the path, and minor tree and brush trimming was completed. A new diesel fuel tank was installed and put into service at the Public Works facility for all village departments to use. Spoils and debris were hauled out of the village dump. Street patches were completed along with pothole repairs. GIS work continued collecting data on village-owned assets, along with continued training throughout the village. Water meters were read in sections 1, 2, and 3 as the village has officially transferred over to monthly reads. 15 monthly bacterial samples were taken, along with quarterly stage 2 samples. Lead and copper sampling also started per new EPA regulation. 60 samples will be taken biannually. Various water and sewer work orders were completed, along with resident tree concerns and general construction inquiries. Routine maintenance of the department's fleet and equipment was completed, as well as the police and fire vehicles. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Trustee Sheehan. Next is Finance Committee, Trustee Laudner.
Thank you, Mr. President. This evening from the finance area, I have the monthly report through the end of April and 3 items for discussion and action. First of all, the end of our fiscal year was April 30th, so this report is through the end of April, but it is not the final report. That will be in our final audit is when the final, after it will accommodate all the accounts payable, accounts receivables, and other items that need to be included in the 2024-2025 financial report. For the end of the month, fiscal year to date general fund revenue of $11,937,876 is at 102% of the annual budget and $410,846, or 3.6% higher than last year. PPT, which the personal property tax receipts are at $262,418, or 6.3% greater than last year. Other local taxes are $53.55, or 0.5% lower than last year. Intergovernmental receipts are up $290,066, or 7.3% from last year. Sales tax and income tax continue to trend higher than last year and are above budget, while use tax and personal property replacement tax are lower than last year and below budget. We anticipated that the PPRT, the personal property replacement tax, declined from the Illinois Department of Revenue notifications regarding their accounting adjustments. State use tax decline was also anticipated due to the sales tax legislation, which moved taxes on some out-of-state and online purchases from the use tax to the state and local taxes. However, the decline has been significantly more than our finance department anticipated. Licenses and registration fees are at $31.74, or 1.1% lower than last year. Permit receipts are at $68,694, or 14.7% lower than the prior year, and that's due primarily to large new construction projects last year. Charges for services are at $101,711, or 10.4% lower than last year, and the village has experienced a delay in the receipt of Medicare payments for ambulance service due to an issue with the village's revalidation. Staff is working with the village's billing service to resolve the issue, and not to put Dean on the spot, but any progress on that you could report? Is that being clarified on that one? Updated?
For which specifically?
That was for the ambulance village's revalidation.
We do have an update. Dean, Chief Magos, do you want to provide it? Very new information.
Yes, a couple things are what we found to be there was a lapse in our Medicaid or Medicare status with the government. We just found out, I think, within the last 2 weeks that we were revalidated. It finally got approved. I think Medicare actually came out here. And we are working right now with our billing company to write a letter to request payment for all of the missing funds, and we have to provide a very solid estimate. And they have done this in the past. They've had these issues with other people they serve, or they can't guarantee that we'll recover all of it, but they have they're used to doing it, and they will provide a very strong worded letter with details explaining what had happened and exactly what we think we may be missing. But it could take up to, I think, 3 months, right, at least?
Did you feel we're making progress, though?
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, excellent.
More than previously in the last several weeks, yes.
Right. Well, and I apologize for putting you on the spot, but
guys, I was reading an ordinance.
Yep. Thank you for that clarification. Fine revenue is at $59,660, or 72% higher than last year due to parking and compliance tickets. And miscellaneous revenue is at $22,364, or 3.9% less than last year, and that's due to the revenue recognized last year with respect to the annual insurance pool reserve adjustments. This year's adjustments will be booked prior to completion of the village's annual audit. Total general fund expenditures are at $10,553,331. And that is 95% of the annual budget and $387,273, or 3.8% greater than last year. The increase is primarily due to personnel costs, police pension contributions, tree maintenance and paramedic services, and importantly, all departments are within budget expectations, and I extend appreciation on behalf of the board to all the department heads and the departments of running the budget within expectation. Thank you. It's a lot of effort to do that. And I have a couple more items for discussion and action. The first will be the culmination of discussions we've had over the last few meetings regarding the bond issuance for Central Area Sewer Separation Project. Something that's been on our minds and planning list for years. Purpose is to consider approving an ordinance setting forth the intent to issue alternate revenue bonds for the Central Area Sewer Separation Project and approving the Bond Issue Notification Act public hearing order. The background on this, you may recall, is at the February 25th, 2025 meeting, the Village Board approved a resolution of intent to proceed with constructing the Central Area Sewer Separation Project. The resolution accepted a $4 million in funding assistance from the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, and it committed the village to issue up to $5 million in bonds to support the project. Additional grants and village cash reserves will provide the remaining funds that are necessary for this project. The debt service for the proposed bonds will be paid from sewer fees collected from the village's water and sewer system customers. The village is currently paying approximately $390,000 per year in debt service for bonds that were originally issued in 2006 for sewer projects. That debt service will end in 2025. The annual debt service on the proposed bonds is anticipated to be nearly equal to the current debt service, and therefore no increase in the sewer rate is required. Representatives from the village's financial advisor, Baird, and the village's bond counsel, Chapman and Cutler, attended the last work session meeting on May 13th to provide the village board with an overview of the bond issuance process, of which there were several questions that were discussed and answered for the board from them. Staff recommends that the village board approve the proposed ordinance and public hearing order at the May 27th, this evening's village board meeting. So, as such, on behalf of the president and the board, I'd like to submit a motion to approve an ordinance authorizing the issuance of sewage revenue bonds of the village of Grange Park, Cook County, Illinois, in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $5 million, or in lieu thereof, general obligation bonds, sewage system alternative revenue source, said bonds being general obligation bonds for which real property taxes, unlimited as to rate or amount, may be levied, but which are expected to be paid from the net revenues of the sewage system of the village in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $5 million for the purpose of paying the costs of improving the system.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion. Trustee Laudner?
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, as mentioned, we have talked about this for years, actually, and several meetings in anticipation of leading up to this point in time to represent from the president and the rest of the board the recommendation for this motion. And I think it's an exciting time to have the opportunity to address what's been a long time concern and complaints from several of our residents, and I think it's exciting that we're going to be in a position to finally do something about it. So I'm wholeheartedly supportive of this, and to have the contribution at the tune of $4 million from the MWRD it certainly makes it something that we can handle.
Thank
Ready
you,
to move
Trustee
forward.
Thank you. Trustee DiFerio, any comments?
I think it's an incredible project that's going to help maintain the infrastructure not only now but into the future, which obviously resonates in multiple different areas of our community. So I'm fully supportive of this.
Thank you, Trustee DiFerio. Trustee Caputo?
Yes, thanks, President DeCipio. I'm also in favor of it as well. I think it's much needed, and we know we need these funds to work with, so I'm definitely in favor of it.
Thank you, Trustee Caputo. Trustee Sheehan?
I agree 100%. I support.
Thank you, Trustee Sheehan. Trustee Council?
100% in support. I just have one question. When do we get started? Thank you.
Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Laudner?
Yes.
Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
Trustee DiFerio?
Yes.
President DeCipio?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan.
So as a follow-on to the approval of that motion, on behalf of the president and the board, I would like to submit a motion to approve an order calling a public hearing concerning the intent of the president and board of trustees of the village of Grange Park, Cook County, Illinois, to sell not to exceed $5 million in general obligation bonds or alternate revenue source.
Second.
Motion and second, discussion again. Trustee Lautner?
Follow on to this would provide the public hearing that's legally required to approve this to move forward. So yes, I support it.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board? Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner? Yes. Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
Trustee Diaferio?
Yes.
President DeCipio?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan.
Okay, so the next item is regarding the municipal grocery sales tax. That's been a hot topic, obviously, of many communities throughout the state. Purpose of this is to consider approving an ordinance establishing a municipal grocery sales tax. And the background on this is that Public Act 103-0781 was signed by the Governor of Illinois in August of 2024 and eliminates the statewide 1% sales tax on grocery items at the end of calendar year 2025. While the current grocery sales tax was established by the state, all of the revenue belongs to the local governments where the tax is collected. The village's estimated annual grocery sales tax revenue is between $250,000 and $300,000. Public Act 103-0781 also authorizes municipalities to continue the 1% grocery sales tax as a local sales tax. The village's fiscal year 25-26 budget approved by the village board in April, included the municipal grocery sales tax as revenue in the general fund. In order to continue the 1% grocery sales tax without interruption, the village must adopt an ordinance establishing the municipal grocery sales tax and send a certified copy to the Illinois Department of Revenue before October 1 of 2025. Staff recommends that the village board approve the proposed ordinance at this evening's village board meeting on May 27, 2025. So as such, I would like to submit a motion to approve an ordinance implementing a non-home rule municipal grocery retailer's occupation tax and a non-home rule municipal grocery service occupation tax in the village of Grange Park, Illinois.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Motion and second. Discussion. Trustee Lautner?
Thank you, Mr. President. We discussed this at the work session as I commented at that time. As a resident, as a taxpayer, I just hate that we have to continue with taxes and potentially miss an opportunity where we might be able to save a little bit, but the other side of that coin is to lose this significant revenue of over $250,000 has a direct impact on the services that this village provides to its residents, and something that we cannot afford to do. So we have no choice, I think, but to approve this and to continue with the same rate of taxes that are currently being paid today. From my understanding, virtually all the municipalities around us are understanding the same impact, are having the same impact and moving forward. So I think it's the prudent thing to do for this village to approve this and continue with this 1% sales tax.
Thank you, Trustee Lautner. Trustee Diaferio?
Yes, I agree with the sentiment of the trustee. What I will say is I am supportive of this in the context that we are maintaining what we have come to obviously understand and pay traditionally. It's challenging not to be able to offer the relief. However, with the ongoing increases in life expenses in general, the fact that we're able to maintain that and continue that substantial amount of revenue for the village, I do support the cause.
Thank you, Trustee Diaferio. Trustee Sheehan?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just like the unfunded mandate from Springfield on the lead service line, they take a 1% tax cut supposedly for the state, and then leave it up to us to figure out how we're going to come up with $300,000. I see no other way around this, so I would support this.
Thank you, Trustee Sheehan. Trustee Council?
It's a necessary evil, and I hate the fact that we have to pass it along as a municipality. This is certainly not lost on me. I know we need the revenue, but this is definitely not my way of pursuing that revenue. Thank you.
Trustee Caputo?
Thanks, President DeCipio. Again, I wish we didn't have to, ask for this. I think it's a nominal amount, but we do need it for the village, and as we know, every day we're fighting raise money, keep funds going to make improvements for our neighborhood. So I think it's a much needed thing, and I'm approving of keeping the tax at the
Thank you,
1%
Trustee
rate.
Caputo.
Thank you.
Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner,
Yes.
Trustee Council,
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan,
Yes.
Trustee Caputo,
Yes.
Trustee Diafario,
Yes.
President DeCipio.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan.
And the last item I have for discussion and action is regarding the fiscal year 25-26 pay plan with a schedule modification for the fire department's pay rate. Purpose of this is to present a modification to the schedule of authorized positions for part-time and seasonal employees in the fiscal year 2025-26 pay plan to clarify the application of stated rates in the schedule for part-time fire department employees. The background on this is that the village board recently approved the village pay plan and schedules of authorized positions and compensation for the fiscal year 25-26 by adopting ordinance number 1253, and that was done on April 22nd of 2025. In reviewing our proposed hourly pay rates for those participating in the fire department's new weekday daytime staffing program, it was determined that we need to clarify those pay rates as they will not always fall within the ranges specifically noted in the schedule. It should also be noted that the hourly compensation rates for firefighter, lieutenant, and captain noted in the schedules are the rates of pay for responding to fire/rescue calls. In practice and per fire department policy, the hourly rate paid for those positions when performing administrative duties, training, and the like is actually 2/3 of the current call rate. Although this distinction is clearly noted in the policy, it was also determined that this could be clarified further in the schedule. The item is for both discussion and formal action at this evening's village board meeting. So I'd like to submit a motion to adopt an ordinance approving a first amendment to the fiscal year 2025-26 employee pay plan and schedule of authorized positions for the village of Grange Park, specific to certain fire personnel listed under part-time and seasonal employees.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion second. Trustee Lautner?
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, I think it makes sense to further clarify it and not changing any of the rates. And in our packet, there was a notation added at the bottom of the schedule that said that rate noted is pay range for callbacks and fire rescue incidents. The actual rate of pay is 2/3 of the listed rate for training and administrative duties in accordance with the personnel manual and fire department policies. In addition, daytime weekday staffing position we compensated as follows: shift officer $25 per hour, firefighter/PM $23 per hour, and firefighter EMT $22 per hour. Very clear, follows the policy. I think it makes sense. It couldn't be clearer.
Thank you, Trustee Lautner. Any other comments from the board? Seeing none, Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner,
Yes.
Trustee Council,
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan,
Yes.
Trustee Caputo,
Yes.
Trustee Diafario,
Yes.
President DeCipio.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan.
And that concludes all the items for discussion and action and reporting from the finance area this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Lautner. Okay, moving on to other reports. Our village clerk,
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report this evening.
our village treasurer,
No report tonight, Mr. President.
village engineer,
No report tonight, Mr.
our council,
President. No report tonight.
and our commercial revitalization committee, Trustee Caputo.
Thank you, President DeCipio. 2 items: monthly report, commercial revitalization committee report, LaGrange Road traffic safety improvement project. Earlier this month, the village officials and staff met with representative from IDOT to discuss the village's priorities to improve traffic and pedestrian safety along LaGrange Road. As part of this effort, the village is proposing a speed limit reduction from 30 miles per hour to 25 on LaGrange Road. The need for safer conditions along this corridor was identified in the village's streetscape improvement plan. The village is in the midst of phase 1 engineering study for this corridor as part of this plan. Community members were invited to provide feedback at a public open house on April 23rd. and through an online survey, which closed on May 14th. A follow-up public meeting is planned for September, where the village and project team will share refined design concepts and continue the conversation on potential improvements. The 31st Street Corridor Transportation Plan, the village is reviewing proposals from qualified consultant firms to provide professional planning and design services for the 31st Street Corridor Transportation Plan. This project is partially funded through an IDOT statewide planning resource, statewide planning and research (SPR) grant, and will address multimodal safety and mobility enhancements along 31st Street Corridor. Full details, including the scope of services, are available in the request for proposals in the transparency portal on the village's website. Consultation, selection, and project initiation are expected to take place this summer. The Jewel Osco grand reopening. Jewel Osco celebrated the grand reopening of the store with a ribbon cutting ceremony on May 8th. The store was redesigned to enhance the customer shopping experience and includes an expanded variety of fresh produce and top quality meat and seafood. Visit Jewel Osco at 507 East Woodlawn Avenue near the Village Market and check out all the updates. Facade and property revitalization program. The village is accepting applications for the facade and property revitalization program, which assists property and business owners who aim to enhance the external appearance of their properties. In order to be eligible, a building must be used for commercial purposes and must be located within one of the village's TIF and or business districts. Visit the village's website for more information. And the Commercial Revitalization Committee, stay up to date on what's happening in Grange Park by attending the village's Commercial Revitalization Committee meetings. The committee meets regularly to discuss how the village can best support new and existing businesses and enhance the commercial areas in town. Upcoming topics include upcoming streetscape projects around the Village Market and 31st Street. Check the calendar on the village's website for upcoming market agenda. And I have one other item on the agenda here. Hold on. An agreement for professional services 2025 paint and post pilot project. Purposes for staff seeking approval of the agreement for professional services for 2025 paint and post pilot project and pedestrian bump out. The general background is in 2025 paint and post pilot project PPP at Homestead Road and Sherwood Road is a temporary traffic calming and pedestrian safety initiative proposed in the Village Market Streetscape Improvement Plan. It aims to enhance safety by testing low-cost treatments such as pavement markings and raising lane markers to improve visibility, slow speeds, and define crossings. The project includes paint and post bump outs to narrow the roadway, shorten crossings, and buffer pedestrians. A second bump out is planned at Sherwood Road and Woodlawn Avenue to improve safety and reduce turning speeds. Edwin Hancock Engineering will provide design, surveys, coordination, and bid documentations for a lump sum fee of $10,800. The village will separately engage a consultation for artwork coordination and installation. The village has budgeted $20,000 in the Village Market Business District Fund for this project. Staff will evaluate the project and impact based on speed data, safety metrics, and community feedback. And this item is up for discussion and action. The motion is to approve an ordinance approving an agreement by and between the Village of Grange Park, Cook County, Illinois, and the Edwin Hancock Engineering Company for furnishing of professional design engineering services for the 2025 paint and post pilot project at Sherwood Road and Homestead Road and pedestrian bump out at Sherwood Road and Woodlawn Avenue, and for the appropriation and expenditure of Village Market Business District funds to pay for the services.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Trustee Caputo?
Yes, thanks, President DeCipio. I think this falls in line with what we've been talking about for a long time about safety and observing what's needed, for the village to get recognition with pedestrians, with people driving and so forth. So I think it's a much needed thing, and since we have the budget and we're staying within the budget to do it, I think it's something well needed that we need to follow through with.
Thank you, Trustee Caputo. Mark, did you want to make any comments at all?
No, this is pretty straightforward. It's an hourly cost. Won't be more than $10,800. Maybe it'll be under that, but we'll get those specifications out so that we can get that installed this summer.
Okay, thank you. Maggie, anything? Ed? Nothing? Okay. Anybody from the board? Trustee Laudner?
Well, I guess I have questions about how this relates to the work that we're doing with IDOT and impact or not. I mean, anytime I'll say touch the roads in that area, it seems like it's an IDOT related topic, and are they involved in this? So maybe some clarification on that.
So this project focuses on a local road, which is great because while we're working with IDOT on several projects along LaGrange Road, which takes a lot of time and coordination, we're able to move a little bit quicker on this project, for example, which is one of the reasons we want to pursue it at this time in order to provide for a pedestrian safety enhancement project for the community while we're still taking time to go through the phase 1 process with IDOT on LaGrange Road. So we have more local control for this project as it's focused on Homestead and Sherwood.
So none of this would encroach on the IDOT responsible thoroughfares?
It does not.
Okay. Is it something, are these things that they should know about as they work with us for approval of the different things that we've talked to them about? I mean,
I think it will be important for the village to make sure IDOT is aware that we're pursuing projects like this paint and post pilot, which is known as like a tactical urbanism or a quick build, because I think for IDOT it will demonstrate or be another demonstration of the village's commitment to enhancing pedestrian safety, and that we're looking for ways to do it not just on LaGrange Road but in the larger, broader Village Market area.
good. Thank you. Thank you.
Julia, yes, comments?
I just wanted to make one comment that one way that these two projects are related is that some of the suggestions that came out of the Village Market Streetscape Improvement Plan, that particular project, there's many recommendations, and both the work on LaGrange Road to improve the crosswalk at Homestead for pedestrian safety, some of the work along Woodlawn, as well as the paint and post at the Sherwood intersection. Those are items that all came out of that streetscape report, and so that's kind of how they're related, but we can certainly keep IDOT informed on this work.
Thank you, Julia. Any other comments moving forward? Trustee Council?
Thank you, President Discipio. I don't know if this would go to Mark for an explanation, but if you could describe a bump out.
So certainly a bump out is just a way of bringing the parkway more into the roadway, narrowing the road. It's a traffic calming device. It also narrows the width of the road that pedestrians have to cross when they're going to cross a street. So for instance, at Woodlawn and Sherwood, right, what's anticipated, which was covered in your plan, would be that there would be a small island created on the west side of the street, kind of extending that little parkway out, and it would define the parking lane that would be moved to the west side of the street, and then the travel lanes would be on the east side in the middle of the roadway. So pedestrians would be able to then have a shorter crossing of the roadway, and it would help kind of delineate where that parking lane would be. When we look at Sherwood and Homestead, we're really trying to reduce some of those very wide pedestrian crossings that are out there, trying to reduce that width so pedestrians have a better way of seeing it. It's meant as a temporary installation to see how functional it is, if there are issues. Certainly, if it's something that the community doesn't like, or there's an issue with it regarding any kind of, while we look at every piece of equipment that'll be going through the intersection, there might be an exception that we're not anticipating. Gives you an opportunity to adjust it before you ever would consider making it like a hard landscape with curb and gutter, making it more permanent. So
I agree with what you said about the turning radius, because it could be problematic for delivery trucks, and especially that route to Jewel and route out of Jewel. I don't know how this would affect them, but if they're going to have to traverse northbound on Sherwood to get to Harding, to make a turn to get to LaGrange Road, rather than being able to exit at Sherwood, back to Homestead and up the hill, I don't know if that would be prohibitive, if I'm understanding the bump out correctly.
no, it shouldn't prohibit that at all. We're taking that into account. We know which route we want the traffic to be coming into the Jewel to get back out to LaGrange Road. And we're taking into account emergency vehicles that have to go through the intersection, whether they're coming off of Homestead, turning onto Sherwood. So we look at all that information through evaluating the turning radiuses of all vehicles in that area.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Trustee Lautner?
So looking at this as a temporary potential solution, is there a time frame that you have in mind when it would go in, when it would potentially come out, or make a decision to keep it in? I'm thinking about, traffic flows, during the summer months, concerts, all those types of things. So is there a specified temporary time frame?
We'd like to have the project built for a period of a year so that we can observe over each season how it functions, not just for delivery trucks traversing the intersection, but also snow plows. And in order to have enough time to gather the community feedback and collect our own data on how it's functioning. So a year would be the anticipated length for the pilot. And I want to mention as well, for some municipalities, paint and post is the solution, and it's something they maintain over time. And so you may see it, the city of Chicago uses it in many areas, but also other municipalities in the western suburbs, you're starting to see it a little bit more. So for some, it can be the permanent solution if the community is accepting of it and it's functioning well. Others may decide it's functioning well and we want to memorialize it with curb and gutter and formalize that infrastructure a little bit further.
When do you see it going in? I mean, assuming it's approved.
If approved, we would anticipate that it would be going in July of this year.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments? Yes, Trustee Sheehan?
In light of the discussion, I guess I came up with a couple questions. I think both directed at both chiefs. So if this is built, would the ladder truck have to take an alternative route?
I haven't seen the final design, but I don't believe so. I think we'd accommodate for it, especially if there's going to be semis traversing the same areas. But I believe we would talk about the final design just to make sure the radiuses are correct.
Okay, and then I guess my question to Chief Contois would be kind of vehicle counts before and after it's built to see if we're not pushing traffic either behind the dollar store or cutting down other streets. Had that been thought of, or is that something that would be?
I think we would have worked with Hancock about putting some traffic counter devices in the street to obtain that data.
Kind of before and after, right? Okay, yeah, I would support this. Definitely, when it comes to safety, I know everybody on this board and all the staff members, safety, we'd rather be proactive than reactive, so I support. Thanks for your input. Mr. President, thanks.
Thank you, Trustee Sheehan. Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
Trustee Diaferio?
Yes.
President DeCipio?
Yes,
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
thank you, Megan. And thank you, Trustee Caputo.
Thank you. That concludes my agenda, President DeCipio.
Okay, motion to approve committee and collectors report as presented. All
Second.
those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I have a couple things I'd like to go through. First, I have the Sustainability Commission appointments to fill 2 vacancies. The Sustainability Commission consists of 7 members appointed by the President with advice and consent of the Board of Trustees. Each member serves a 3-year term. Due to the retirement of 1 member and the desire of another to step down, the Commission has 2 vacancies. Upon review of the applications, it is recommended that Eric Reside and Charlene Simonson be appointed to serve the remainder of a 3-year term expiring in May 2028. Eric is interested in getting more involved in civic life and views service on the Sustainability Commission as a meaningful way to help make Grange Park a safer and more sustainable place to live. His personal values and professional aspirations align with the mission of the Commission. Charlene moved to LaGrange Park in 2023 and is eager to apply her passion for sustainability and service to the community. She is committed to composting and reducing waste and brings interest in environmental markets, community engagement, and grant writing administration. I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Could you please read the
I
motion?
will read the motion.
Thank you, Trustee.
Submit a motion to appoint Eric Reside and Charlene Simonson to the Sustainability Commission to serve the remainder of a 3-year term expiring in May 2028.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
Trustee Diaferio?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Trustee Lautner. And welcome to those 2 commission members. Next up, I have a list of the committees for this year, 2025. Administration Committee, Trustee Council, Chairwoman, Trustee Zora, Trustee Caputo members. Building and Zoning, Trustee Zora, Chairwoman, Trustee Lautner, and Trustee Council members. Engineering Capital Projects, Trustee Diaferio, Chairman, Trustee Lautner, Trustee Sheehan members. Finance Committee, Trustee Lautner, Trustee Caputo as Chairman, Trustee Caputo and Trustee Diaferio members. Public Safety, Trustee Caputo Chairman, Trustee Council and Trustee Sheehan members. Public Works Committee, Trustee Mike Sheehan Chairman, Trustee Lautner, Trustee Zora members. Sustainability Subcommittee, Trustee Council Chairwoman, Trustee Sheehan, Trustee Diaferio members. Commercial Revitalization Committee, Trustee Zora Chairwoman, and Trustee Caputo and Trustee Diaferio members. As I reported last meeting, I read a couple of proclamations, and it wasn't a televised session, and I think they were all important topics. I'm not going to reread those proclamations, but I would like to mention them. National Police Week. We honored the courage and commitment of our officers who serve with integrity and protect the safety and rights of everyone in the village. Chief, thank you for all that you and your department do for us and the safety of our community. EMS Week with the theme We Care for Everyone, highlighted the compassion and skill for our paramedics, firefighters, dispatchers, and police who respond day and night to emergencies, often during someone's most critical moments. To you, Chief, thank you for you and your department, again, for all the safety you provide us and our community. Public Works Week, theme People, Purpose, Presence, acknowledge the professionals who maintain the infrastructure we rely on every day, from clean water and roads to public buildings and emergency response systems. And again, to you, Director Ratty, thank you to your department for, again, making us as a community safe. We are truly blessed by all your services and especially proud of the professionalism, training, dedication each of these teams bring to their work. Their impact is felt daily, and their commitment is one of the things that makes Grange Park a strong and resilient community. What else did I have? 2 other things. We had the State of the Village a week ago. Julie had mentioned it. I want to recognize Maggie for all her work in bringing everything together and making it such a great event for our community. I want to thank all of the department heads and people that were on the panel. I want to thank Julia for her expertise and all that she does to, again, bring everyone together as a team. I want to thank Plymouth Place and their CEO, Jay Beyer, for being so hospitable and welcoming us into their home. Yesterday, we had the Memorial Day service at the Park District, with the Park District put on. I think that it was a great event. I think the crowd was larger than we've seen in the past. It was a gorgeous, beautiful day for our veterans that were there. And thank you to the Park District for all that you do for that. One item that I want to bring forward that I received correspondence from, a lot of our community were upset and concerned about the closing of the YMCA. I received quite a few emails. I forwarded them to Julia. Julia and staff received quite a few emails. Julia, I want to thank you for responding to each and every one of them with professionalism and compassion. Julia and I decided we'd reach out to the higher ups, the CEOs at the YMCA, because our residents wanted an answer. Number one, why was it closing? Number two, what could we do to keep it open? So I received this letter, and I'll read it to the board. President DeCipio, thank you for reaching out on behalf of the village of the Grange Park and for the opportunity to provide clarity regarding the upcoming closure of the Greater LaGrange YMCA. We understand and regret the disappointment and concern this decision may have caused among residents. The Greater LaGrange YMCA has long been a valued part of the community, and we are grateful for the many heartfelt messages we received from members who have shared how much the Y has meant to them and their families. This decision was not made lightly. After thorough and thoughtful evaluation of our operations, the YMCA of Metropolitan Chicago made the difficult but strategic decision to close the Greater LaGrange YMCA, with final operations concluding on Friday, July 18, 2025. This evaluation considered our operations' long-term sustainability and the evolving needs of the community. Despite our best efforts to address these issues over time, we ultimately concluded that the continued operations at this site would compromise our ability to serve the broader region effectively and equitably. We are especially mindful of the impact this closure has on our dedicated staff and loyal members. We are working closely with our team to support them through this transition and are providing resources to help members connect with nearby YMCA locations and programs. To help ease the transition, we are offering complimentary membership access at nearby YMCAs, including the Indiana Boundary and Elmhurst locations, in the month of July. We remain steadfast in our commitment to the YMCA's mission of strengthening communities. While the Greater LaGrange YMCA will close, we are continuing to explore how we can best support the well-being of individuals and families in the area through partnerships, programs, and other community-focused efforts. As our plans evolve, we will remain attentive to the needs of the LaGrange Park community and will keep residents informed of any future opportunities to engage with the YMCA. Thank you again for your understanding and for your leadership during this time. Ed Heiser, Vice President, Community Engagement and Operations, YMCA of Metropolitan Chicago. So that's that. One other item I'd like to make, while we were all, certainly sad to see Trustee Stewart go. He was a tremendous trustee, tremendous asset to our board. I feel very confident and appreciative that we have someone to fill that spot in Trustee DiFario. I think we're going to be amazed at what he brings to this board and the quality of character and integrity and everything that we had in Trustee Stewart. We're going to have the same in Trustee DiFario. So welcome, Trustee DiFario. I'm looking forward to working with you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, with that, any public participation? Okay, seeing none, any new business? Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Everyone have a great week. Thank you.